So what if the Great Pyramid wasn't a tomb at all, but a machine? And what if the user manual for that machine was hidden in plain sight, encoded directly into the Quran? We are about to dive into a really fascinating theory that connects ancient prophets, forgotten rituals, and a secret that's supposedly been waiting for centuries to be unlocked. Now, this whole idea is framed by this pretty haunting prophecy. A time will come when the last of my community will curse the first. I mean, that's a shocking thing to hear. Why would anyone ever do that? Well, the theory we're exploring suggests it's because essential truths and some incredibly powerful rituals were deliberately lost or corrupted over the centuries. So let's go looking for those lost truths. Our search is going to start with the first piece of this puzzle, a forgotten ceremony, a sacred camel ritual that was believed to hold just immense spiritual power. So get this. The claim is that the original Hajj pilgrimage, the one performed way back by the prophet Abraham, was way more than just a journey. It apparently had this powerful ritual for transferring spiritual energy, a ritual that this theory says has since been totally commercialized and stripped of its real meaning. Okay, so how did this ancient ceremony supposedly work? Try to picture this. Pilgrims would form these perfect concentric circles, called swaf, all around a mature female camel. Then, together, they'd start chanting the takbir, Allahu Akbar. As the energy from that chant builds and builds to its absolute peak, the camel would raise its head. And that moment was believed to be a sign, a gate opening to the heavens. Right then, at that exact instant, the camel was sacrificed, and this powerful wave of healing energy would just wash over everyone, strengthening the weak and curing the sick. And you can see the disconnect right here. The ancient ritual was all about this incredible communal healing, this spiritual boost for everyone there. The source argues that the modern practice has become, well, a mass slaughter, where the meat is just collected by huge companies for profit. You can kind of start to see why, according to this theory, a later generation might feel like something absolutely crucial was lost along the way. All right, let's pivot to the next piece of this, and you'll see how it all connects. We're going from a lost ritual in Mecca all the way to Egypt and to the absolute centerpiece of this entire theory, the Great Pyramid of Giza. And I want you to forget everything you think you know about it being a tomb. Think of it as a machine. Yeah, this is a pretty radical shift in perspective. The theory says the pyramid was never meant to be some pharaoh's final resting place. No, it was a highly sophisticated piece of equipment, an ancient bit of technology designed by none other than the prophet Idris, who you might know from other traditions as Enoch. But how could a giant stone pyramid possibly work like a machine? I mean, what would be the science behind that? Well, this brings us to a secret knowledge, a chain of wisdom that was supposedly passed down through the ages. The key, according to the source material, is something called Ilm al-Raqim, which you can translate as the science of the inscription. It's not described as magic, but as a divine ancient science, one that lets you travel through space-time and even access other dimensions. It's almost like the physics of the prophets. And this knowledge wasn't just held by one person. There was a whole lineage here. It starts with Idris, the architect, the guy who first engineered the pyramid to be a portal. Then it was apparently mastered by Khidr, the teacher, who could travel at the speed of light. It was used by Asif in King Solomon's court to perform what looked like miracles. And later, Du al-Qarnayn used it to rule his vast empire. So what's really important here is that within this framework, this was a known functional science. So, okay, we have a machine, the pyramid, and we have the science to operate it, but where's the activation key? Where's the on switch? Well, this is where the theory gets really, really compelling. The code isn't buried in some lost scroll, it's hidden within scripture. The source claims the instructions to turn the pyramid on are encrypted directly into the text of the Quran. It's not a spell, not some vague incantation, but a precise code just sitting there in plain sight for anyone who knows how to look. So where do we look for this code? The theory points to two very specific chapters or surahs in the Quran. The first one is Surah Al-Araf, which means the heights, and the second is Surah Ar-Ra'd, which means the thunder. Okay, now look closely at this because the key is in something really unique to these chapters. They start with what are known as muqatta'at, or disconnected letters, these mystical initials whose exact meaning has been debated by scholars for centuries. For Al-Araf, the letters are Aleph, Lam, Mim, Sad. For Arad, they are Aleph, Lam, Mim, Ra. So what happens when you combine the unique letters from these two chapters? You take the Sad from the first one and the Ra from the second, along with the Mim they both share. Well, the letters spell Misr, which is the Arabic name for Egypt. The code, hidden in scripture, is literally pointing you to the location of the machine. It's pretty incredible. But activating this machine, it's not a simple matter. This wasn't just a tool for one single purpose. No, the source presents the pyramid as having this profound dual nature. It could be a portal to heaven, or it could be a portal to hell. You really have to think of the pyramid as neutral technology, a powerful amplifier. Its effect isn't built in. It depends completely on the user's intention and, more importantly, on the specific words they recite inside its chambers. And right here, you can see the two completely different paths one could take. On one side, you have the path of Idris. By reciting divine verses, specifically from Al-Araf and Ar-Rad, the pyramid's upper gates would supposedly open, giving you access to the divine realm of angels. But on the other side, you have the path of Pharaoh. By using what the source calls satanic incantations, the lower gates would open up to the subterranean world of jinn and demons. It really all comes down to this single idea. Idris opened the upper gates to the world of angels. Pharaoh used the same tool to open the lower gates to the world of demons. It's the same machine, but two vastly different outcomes, all dependent on the code that you use. So this theory presents a world where ancient structures are actually advanced technology, and holy bucks might just be their operating manuals. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a code pointing to the pyramid's true purpose could be hidden in the Quran, what other secrets might be waiting out there, ready to be deciphered in the texts and monuments all around us?